Hi, my name is Muhammad Aizat bin Shamsul Anwar. Okay, so in this assessment, I will explain about PMS, Preventive Maintenance System. Okay, so it is ROV System Maintenance Tracking. Okay, so it is divided by four category of maintenance. There is weekly maintenance, monthly maintenance, 6 monthly maintenance, and annual maintenance. So this maintenance we need to do in every part of the ROV system. Uh, for ROV, LAS, container, TMS, latching device, charge and also charge card. Okay, so for ROV system, the weekly maintenance that we need to do, we need to check condition of vehicle hydraulic oil. We need to do oil sampling for the oil, and we need to flush out thruster bearing housing, and we need to lubricate lift point swivel. We need to check the bolt nuts, and we need to check the condition of the umbilical. Okay, so we need to check operation of hydraulic compensator level alarm functionality. We also need to check the level of HPU compensator. So the level should be approximately around 1.8 bar. And then we need to check the condition of anodes on ROV body. We also need to check for weekly. We also need to check for loose nuts and bolts. So we need to tighten any loose nut and bolts. We also need to check the security of all ancillary equipment. And then we need to clean and lubricate all manipulators and booms with WD-40. And we need to check operation of emergency location device, and we need to update the ROV maintenance log. We need to check the port clamp for tightness. Okay, and then we need to check frame integrity and buoyancy. Okay, that is for weekly maintenance for ROV. So for monthly maintenance of the ROV is we need to test earth leakage shutdown system. Okay, and we need to clean and test ROV interface tool. We need to check frame for any corrosion. So we need to make sure that the frame doesn't have any corrosion. Okay, we need to check buoyancy and touch up the paintwork. So we need to repaint any paint that been damaged. And then we need to check the thruster. We need to strip or clean the thruster if it necessary. And then we also need to test the batteries in strobe and check operation. And we also need to test the battery in beacons, and we need to check the operation. Okay, so for 6 monthly maintenance for ROV, we need to replace LP and LP hydraulic filters. So we need to change the filter every 6 months, 6 monthly maintenance. And we need to send the stainless reusable filter back to base for ultrasonic cleaning. So if the filter is still usable, we need to do ultrasonic cleaning. And then we need to replace HPU motor oil. We need to mega test threaded insulation. We need to strip, clean and lubricate manipulators and boom, and we need to repair any damage. So we also need to strip and clean thruster also every 6 months, and we need to do general visual inspection on lifting point every 6 months. So for annual maintenance, we need to strip and clean hydraulic and electric compensator. We also need to check motor and pump coupling. So, and we also for annually we need to full test and rectify of lifting point. The lifting point we need to test annually. Okay, next for LARS, for weekly maintenance, for LARS we need to check hose and pipes for any signs of damage or defect. So we need to make sure there is no any defect of the hose and pipes. We need to check all coupling and connection. We need to make sure all connection are secure, and we also need to check the frame of last for any damage or defect. Okay, and then we also need to grease the lubrication point. We also need to lubricate the level wind drive bar. We need to check the change tension. We need to make sure that the tension is in optimum tension. Okay, so it can be loose or it can be too much tension for the change. Okay, so we need to check the shift bracket inspection for any crack. We need to we need to do visual inspection for shift pin, okay, for any defect. And we also need to check the snubber attachment point condition. We need to check the condition. Okay, we also need to check oil level. We need to check pivot pins and keep plates, and we need to inspect ram position for any damage. Okay, so for monthly maintenance, for last, we need to inspect level winder, pound and regrease. So we need to touch up the paint work. We need to check frame for any corrosion or damage at the frame. So we need to check oil for water contamination. We need to make sure that there is no water contamination. We need to open junction box and inspect for water ingress every month. And we also need to replace the silica gel if it as required for the junction box. And then we need to check electrics and running current. We need to make sure there is the current runs well. And then we need to check full operation for all the function of the last, okay, for every month. So for monthly maintenance, we need to change HP and LP filter, same as ROV. So every 6 months we need to change the HP and LP filter. We need to check the condition of oil in tank and change if needed to change. Okay, we need to change the oil. And then we need to do visual inspection on the lifting points of last, and we need to mega test electric motor and power cable, and we need to mega test wind deck cable every 6 months. And then for annual maintenance for last, we need to drain oil and replace every 6 months. We need to drain all the oil and replace for the new oil. And we need to check the condition of the motor or pump coupling. We need to investigate and complete main lift umbilical retermination. And then we need to rectify lift point on A-frame, winch and power pack. And we need to do certification or inspection on shift wheel assembly, okay, annually. And then we need we need to do last annual inspection on all stress point of last. Okay, so next for container. So container, for weekly maintenance for container, we need to ensure all cables enter and exit are secure and covered. Okay, all the cable must be secure and covered. And then we need to tidy and clean the control workshop, and we need to clean the console and monitor. Must make sure that the place is always the place is always in clean and tidy condition. And then we need to check condition and the number of spare in the container. We need to do backup of essential data or database. Okay, so for monthly maintenance for container, we need to touch up any damage paint work, and we need to lubricate the door hinge, okay, so that the door hinge works properly, works well, there is no cracking sound. Okay, we need to, and there is the door safe Okay, so we need to lubricate the door hinge. Okay, so we also need to clean the PDU and unit filters, and we need to check first aid kit and order spare if needed. So first aid kit is compulsory in container, so it is we must check that that first aid kit is always there. Okay, we need to do inventory update. Okay, we need to update the inventory. We need to check system certification, and the date must be valid. And then we need to send copy of database to the office. Okay, database all the component inside the container we must to send to the office. And then we need to lubricate door hinge every month. Okay, lubricate. Next we need to clean PDU and aircon unit filter. Okay, and we need to update antivirus definition on the PC so that the system is secure. Okay, antivirus every 6 month we need to update. Every monthly we need to update antivirus. So for 6 month maintenance, we need to do general visual inspection on lifting point of the container every 6 months. We need to make sure that the lifting point is at good condition. There is no damage on the lifting point, so it is very important to make sure that it is strong enough to handle the weight of the container. Okay, so for annual maintenance, we need to do full test on recertify the lift point on container and sling. Okay, and then for TMS, weekly maintenance for TMS, we need to check the condition of hydraulic oil. We need to bleed height point on hydraulic circuit. So at the height point of hydraulic circuit, there is a bleeding point, so we need to do bleeding every week. And then we need to bleed also. We need on electrical component circuit also, there is a high point for bleeding. Okay, and then we need to check the guide rollers for any wear and rotation. And then we need to grease the lubrication point, and we need to check idler pulley for wear and security. Okay, then for there is also for chain tension. Okay, for chain tension, we need to make sure the tension is in optimum. The tension is at perfect tension. It cannot be loose and it cannot be too tension. Okay, too much tension on the change. And we need to lubricate level when the diamond bar. And then we need to check for loose nut and bolts every week. And we need to check HPU compensator every week. We need to check the condition and security of column grip. So, and then we need to inspect lift umbilical for any damage and security. And then we need to inspect main swivel and lift pin. Okay, every week we need to do all the inspection and maintenance. So for 6 monthly maintenance, we need to replace HP and LP filters, and we need to send the stainless reusable filter back to base for ultrasonic cleaning. It is same as ROV, where the filter we need to send back to base for ultrasonic cleaning. Okay, and we need to replace the HPU motor oil. We need to mega test the umbilical insulation. Okay, so for annual maintenance for TMS, we need to strip and clean hydraulic and electric compensator. And then we need to check the motor or and pump coupling. Okay, every year. And then for latching device, we need to bleed the cylinder of air. We need to lubricate pivot points. We need to check all the fastening. We need to make sure all the fastening are secure. And then we need to check the spring must be in place. The spring must be perfectly in place and there is no damage on the spring. And then for monthly maintenance, for latching device, we need to check for wear on latches. We need to check for excessive movement in latches. So we must make sure there no over movement. Okay, and we need to check security of hydraulic fitting. Hydraulic fitting must be it cannot be too tight and it cannot be too loose. It must be at optimum, the fitting. And we need to check integrity and security of hydraulic hoses, so we can prevent it from burst during operation or during mobilization. Okay, and then for 6-month maintenance, 6-monthly maintenance for lift latching device, we need to full test and we need to recertify lift points. Okay, we need to recertify the lift point for every 6 months. So for annually we also need to full test and recertify lift point annually. Okay, we need to full test every year annually. Okay, so for charge card, for weekly maintenance, we need to check the condition of hydraulic oil. We need to check the grease lubrication point. We need to check operation of hydraulic compensator low level alarm. Okay, so low level alarm must be function. For hydraulic compensator, we must to make sure that the alarm are function. Okay, so during operation, we can know if there is any leakage. So the alarm is very important. We need to make sure it works well. Okay, and then we need to check for any loose nuts and bolts every month. For monthly maintenance, we need to check security of hydraulic fitting. Hydraulic fitting must be in good coupling. Okay, the hydraulic fitting. And then we need to check the integrity of security and hydraulic hoses. Okay, we need to check operation of pressure gauge, must put wells, check operation of pressure and flow adjustment. Okay, so for 6 monthly maintenance, we need to change HP and LP filters. We need to check condition of oil in tank, and we need to change the oil if it needed to change. Okay, for every 6 months. And then for every 6 months, we also need to check the condition of oil in tank, and we need to change if needed. And then we need to recertify the lift point, and then we need to mega test electric motor and power cable. Okay, so next, let's go to yard and do some example of inspection of this preventive maintenance system. Okay. For weekly planned maintenance checklist for ROV workshop, we need to check door hinge, and we need to lubricate with grease if required. And then we need to do housekeeping and must ensure that this workshop is clean and tidy. And we need to check the fire extinguisher. So we need to have fire extinguisher and in place. But this workshop doesn't have fire extinguisher, so must take note. And then check condition of safety alarm system and safety signage. There are also no safety alarm system, so it must be noted. And emergency exit all the way and deck clear and clean. Emergency exit is back there and reachable. Okay, and take good damage to all equipment. So we need to tag the equipment, so it is easy for us to find the equipment or to do the stuff. Okay, for weekly plan maintenance checklist for large launch and recovery system, some maintenance checklist is take oil sample from hydraulic circuit, check condition and level, and top up or change if necessary. So hydraulic circuit, So we need to take oil sample and check the condition of the oil. Okay, check oil filter indicator, change if required. So oil filter, we need to check if the indicator, we need to change the oil filter if it is required. Check tie bolt, lubricate if required. So there is a lot of tie bolt, we need to check one by one and we need to lubricate it. Okay. Okay, for next part, let's do weekly plan maintenance checklist for PMS. Okay, some example is check all connectors are properly mated, sleeve and all cables secure and clear of all moving part. So we need to ensure that all connection is in properly mated. Okay, so next is check anodes, replace if required. So this is anode. So we need to replace if it required. So this anode is still in good condition. Okay. Next example is check chain tension and alignment. So this is change. So we need to check its tension and its alignment. Okay. So the last example is check compensator for damage and free to move. So this is a compensator. We need to check if there are any damage and we try to move it. So it is free to move. Okay, so for next part is the maintenance checklist for ROV. Okay, so some example is check ROV frame. This is ROV frame. So need to check for any tooling for sign of damage or loose bolt. So need to check all the bolts. Okay, so next example is check security of manipulator mounting bolts. So this is manipulator, need to check the mounting bolts and then need to lubricate bearing of manipulators. So these manipulators we also need to lubricate its bearing. Okay, so next example is take oil sample from the main tooling and electrical hydraulic skirt, check condition and top up if required. So we need to take sample from, for example, from the main. Okay, take oil sample and then we need to check the condition, and if there is a low amount of oil, we need to top up if necessary. Okay.